There are men who don't lose because of poverty. They lose because one day, they look back, and everything they once believed was safe collapses all at once. In this journey, he begins to lose money. But the first thing to tremble is his pride. Episode 1. The day the bank called. I was sitting in my car, parked in front of a familiar supermarket. It wasn't raining. There were no special signs. It was just a very ordinary day. The voice on the other end was steady and polite, the kind of voice used by people accustomed to talking about other people's money. They didn't shout. They didn't blame. They just informed. I heard every sentence, every word. The company was no longer viable. The loan was due. The collateral wasn't enough to cover it. I hung up. Sat still. Didn't start the car. Didn't open the door. I remember the feeling clearly. No panic. No tears. Just a massive void opening in my chest. As if someone had just taken something very familiar before I could even get a good look at it. I used to believe I was the pillar. The one who stood firm. The man of the family. I had promised my wife that everything would be okay. I had patted my child's head, thinking I was strong enough to provide until they grew up. And in just one phone call, all of that didn't disappear, but it became incredibly fragile. That night, I stood at my front door for a long time. Keys in hand. Hands shaking slightly. Not because I was afraid to go inside, but because I didn't know which face I should walk in with. The failure. The husband who couldn't keep his promise. The father who didn't know where next month's tuition would come from. In the end, I opened the door. The smell of a familiar dinner. The sound of my child talking in their room. No one asked how much I made today. No one knew I had just lost everything. And that is what made me feel so small. When the money is gone, questions begin to appear at the dinner table. No one blames. No one says a harsh word. It's just that the air in the house has changed. Episode 2. The days following the bankruptcy passed very slowly. I still woke up early. Still took my child to school. Still did very ordinary things. But inside, I felt myself collapsing bit by bit. The bills came regularly. The phone ringing made my heart race. I started avoiding meetings. I didn't want to explain. I didn't want to hear anyone ask, "How have you been lately?" Some evenings, the whole family sat for dinner. My child told stories about school. My wife served me food as she always did. I listened. But I didn't dare look at them for long. Because every time I looked into their eyes, I saw clearly that I owed them so much. Not just money, but a sense of security. I used to think that when a man fails, he should disappear. Go somewhere. Start over alone. At least keep a bit of pride. That thought didn't come loudly. It came very quietly. Like a silent escape for those who no longer have the strength to face reality. But every night, after my child fell asleep, I stood at their bedroom door for a long time. Watching their back rise and fall with each breath. Listening as they turned in their sleep. I realized I could lose money. But if I left, they would lose a father. And that I couldn't do. Episode 3. One evening, my wife placed a glass of water in front of me. She didn't say much. She just sat down beside me. She said very softly, "You don't need to be strong. You just need to be here." Those words didn't make everything better immediately. But they kept me there. I started over with very small things. Temporary jobs. Low income. No reputation. No pride. But I came home every night. Ate dinner with my family. Listened to my child's stories. I learned to tell the truth. Learned to admit I was wrong. Learned not to hide in silence. Some days were exhausting. Sometimes I felt useless. But I didn't run away. I didn't become the man I once dreamed of being. But I am the man who is still present. And perhaps, during the worst stages of life, staying is already a choice that's hard enough. Episode 4. One night, the whole house was asleep. I sat alone at the kitchen table. A small, yellow light. In front of me was a stack of bills. The numbers. I didn't even need to read them closely to feel suffocated. I opened my phone. Didn't message anyone. Just looked at the screen for a long time. I thought, if I disappeared, maybe everything would be lighter. My wife wouldn't have to struggle. My child wouldn't have to see a failed father. The thought came very slowly. But once it arrived, it sat stubbornly in my mind. I stood up, opened the door, taking nothing with me. Before stepping out, I heard my child turn in their room. Very quiet, but enough to make me stop. I stood there for a long time. Then I closed the door. That night, I didn't solve anything. But I didn't leave. Episode 5. Time passed slowly. There were no major turning points. No miraculous comeback. It's just that I was there every day. My child grew older. My wife worried less. The meals were no longer as heavy as before. I'm still not successful. Still haven't paid off all the debts. There are still very exhausting days. But every morning, I still wake up in this house. No one was left behind. Someone asked me if I regretted it. I thought for a long time. I lost money. Lost my honor. Lost my own self-image. But I didn't lose my family. And perhaps, at this age, after all the times I collapsed, I understand something very simple. The one who stands firm isn't always the winner. But the one who doesn't leave is the one who chose to stay until the very end. We're more than just viewers, we're companions. Subscribe so we don't lose touch.